So, Arup, you keep talking about this cannabis 3.0, but the market keeps getting filled with more and more really interesting products. The THC content's going higher and higher. Everybody's making these amazing gummies. So, why this focus on the whole cannabis plant?
Well, two things. Number one, we are, I believe, in the natural products business. Natural product is not isolated THC or CBD distillate, number one. Number two, I think cannabis has been the only natural plant where, because of this, what I call THC or CBD obsession, have been going through cultivation genetic breeding to what used to be back in the 70s, maybe 5 or 6% THC, to today, you have 25, 26, 28% THC in a plant. That has not been done even for beneficial plants. I have a fundamental fear that when you take a single molecule away from a natural setting, first of all, then you lose the ability to claim it's natural. You also cannot claim that all the experience, benefits, and for that matter, drawbacks of the natural plant, you can no longer claim. Now, historically, pharmaceutical industry has done and benefited from that approach extremely well because they find a plant source, identify the natural molecule, but then they spend the next 8 to 12 years figuring out how to use it, only where can you use it, where does it benefit, what the actual dosage is, how does the body handle this single molecule in a context that's completely different from how it deals with it in a natural product. And I think I have given this example before. Potassium in banana. If you eat 6 bananas a day, the worst that might happen is you'll have a mild diarrhea. But if you extract out the potassium from all those 6 bananas, or create a strain of banana that's 10 times higher potassium, that actually is going to be harmful. And you have been in the healthcare business, it's bad for your heart, right?
If hyperkalemia is a dangerous thing. It's potentially fatal.
Of all people, you'll relate to that. And nobody's thinking any of that stuff. People are all excited about CBD. CBD has kidney toxicity. When a pharmaceutical drug gets developed, as you've seen in many of the ads, they spend 7 seconds telling you where it should be used, and the next 53 seconds telling you where it can be bad.
Yeah.
We don't do that in the natural products industry because we don't have to. And we probably shouldn't need to, because any natural product that in its natural form is not good never makes it in the real world. We don't make poisonous mushroom juice, right? We eat mushrooms all the time.
I hope not.
So, natural products by themselves, if they're not good, they don't make it. So again, I'm going to go back to another example. Think of vaping nicotine and the company Juul. Their foundation, if you go back, read their original business plan, they're going to present to the world, to the smokers, a safer way to consume nicotine. If you are going to smoke, stop smoking cigarette, use the vape. It was never meant to be a new means to consume nicotine, which is what it became. And that led to the disaster that we are experiencing today. I have the same fear of high THC products, high CBD products. Nothing is in isolation either good or evil, which is why in the pharmaceutical industry, single molecules do make sense because there are limits. And the kind of exception in the natural products industry, like the vitamins and the electrolytes, the minerals, they have been around for so long. We know so much that the FDA has been able to come up with recommended daily value, daily need, right? That doesn't exist for THC, CBD, CBC, CBN. And it's probably not going to, because it's not in the real general world.
Yeah.
So, not only are we not presenting people with the full benefit of the cannabis plant and the hemp plant, they have tremendous benefits. And I've, said this 16 trillion times. Back in the 70s, the way cancer patients survived chemotherapy and radiation therapy is by smoking different strains of cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, as a whole plant, it has tremendous benefits. Chemo patients lose appetite. Well, what do you think munchies is? Gaining appetite,
Yeah, that's a good
right?
point.
There are
Yeah.
some strains that gave the munchies, those are also the strains that were smoked by the cancer patients. So
Mhm.
if we simply were going to say that we're going to create the THC type products, then we're completely walking away from what helped them, because back then it was all 5 or 6% THC, and still different strains were used for different functions.
Okay.
So we cannot be presenting the beneficial functions to people if we take out one molecule.
All right. So I think to summarize what you're saying here, in the natural foods and natural supplement industry, typically the products are safe, but they're really pushing it to the limit by focusing on single molecule products, even though they're derived from supposedly safe sources. The fact that they take that molecule and just go wild with it, and even though single molecules have a purpose and they do serve lots of utility, say in the pharmaceutical industry, they're also highly controlled and studied in the pharmaceutical industry. So you can say people right now are really playing with fire for the sake of profit.
That's what to me seems like, whether it's being done intentionally or simply because there hasn't been good science for 50 years. In 71 is when it became Schedule 1 drug, Schedule 1 plant, the whole 9 years, right? Since then, there hasn't been good science, because it can't really do good science unless the academia is actively engaged in it, right?
Mhm.
So what ended up happening during the time it was illegal, it was all based on how do you attract people to consume it. And they had to push something, get high, get happy, get whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, we have not, consequent to federal legalization, we haven't really walked away from that philosophy to a philosophy to make its benefits available to people at large. And even from a business perspective, when I hear about all these new products, so on and so forth, hash dab, the problem is the illegal industry has been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
So it almost to me seems like we're doing Me Too products and trying to compete an unregulated industry with a regulated marketplace. And why would we want to do that and expect to be either successful or providing benefit to the society?
I would say that the unregulated industry has a significant head start on the legal
Yeah.
industry. They've established themselves and they can do it cheaper. And people obviously, as you've seen, have no problem buying from unregulated sources. So yeah, you make a very good point there. Is there anything else you want to add in, any last words or anything about this argument that you think people need to know?
No, I just think we all need to be looking ahead to the future, learn from the history of when we have done these kinds of things, what has happened. And I think you and I have talked about ephedra before, that actually had to get actively banned from that supplement by the US FDA in 2004, but it still is in your cough syrup, incredibly beneficial.
Yeah.
Ephedrine is same as ephedra, right? So we just need to kind of be a little bit more foresighted, figure out what it is that we can do that actually will be better for people. How can we leverage what Mother Nature gives us and utilize without taking undue risk, as is said, potentially for making profit?
That is very well said. So, Doc, listen, thank you for coming on. Thank you for having this dialogue with me. And thank you, everybody, for watching. If you guys have any thoughts and opinions about this, let us know. We'll happily dive into it. But for now, stay tuned for another video. I'll get you another one soon. Doc, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. Take care.